Hi, my name is Justin, and I'm a graphic designer, web designer, photographer, a little bit of a programmer in there. I've got so many skills. It's really kind of annoying because I know too much, and I get myself into situations where like I find myself working on these big projects and working on all elements of it because I can, and that's pretty cool. So basically, what I'm telling you is if you are looking for somebody to help you with anything digital, that I'm at the very least someone really good to consult with, and at the most actually work on it all for you. So today I'm going to share with you a project that I just wrapped up. It is a project that takes individual files and arranges them into a grid in Photoshop, which Photoshop doesn't exactly do by itself. You've got to have a methodology for making that happen. And so what my client wanted was a script that he could just go run it, have it select a folder, and just have all of the images just make themselves into a grid in Photoshop. Only one problem with that is the individual files that he was looking for in particular had different aspect ratios. And so what we first needed to do was make them all to where they had some kind of a black border, or they all shrunk down with some black border on them to equalize them into one ratio. And so what I did is I chose a 4:5 ratio and made them all into a black border. Pretty cool. So let's go ahead and open up Photoshop really quick and run the script so you can see how it works. The script is really neat. So we go to File, Scripts, Browse, and we're going to go to the master script because the way this is structured is this running two separate scripts to achieve everything we want it to do. One script a little bit too heavyweight and a little bit less stable, so made them two separate scripts that one script is going to run and make all of the magic happen. So let's go ahead and load it. It starts us off with a little note on some good practices. I did make him a help file and everything on how to operate this thing. All right. And so now it's saying, hey, we're going to do this add black border deal. And what we're going to do is go into this folder right here, select it. And now what this script is going to do for each image, it's going to run an action called add black border. And it's just going to keep running that for us until it's all the way done with all of the images. Here's the neat part about it. So when you go back into the folder that we got this from, it creates a folder called black border and dumps all of the brand new 4:5 ratio images inside of it. Pretty neat. And so it's just going to take a minute to run about 20 of those images. And I'll tell you something pretty cool while this is happening, because the image size, the size export, is not being controlled by a script. It's being controlled by an action. Why that's cool is my client actually can go in and duplicate that action, name the duplicate something else, and adjust the output image size. So this is something that could work for a lot of different applications, and it's something that quite frankly I could do. I could use myself in certain scenarios. And so we're just going to let that. We're just going to go ahead and let that work here for a minute. Kind of fun watching Photoshop go to town. And we can see all of our images showing up right over here in Bridge while it works. It's just about wrapped up. So from the looks of it, we've only got 15 photos in here so far. So got 7 more to, oh no, it's done. 22 images processed successfully. Hot diggity. We hit OK, saying, hey, the first script in the sequence is done running. Now we're going to go in and we're going to run the grid generator. Here's a little bit of information that's helpful for you as an alert. We're just going to hit OK. And now it's saying, all right, what images are we going to run? We got to know what images. So we're going to go select that black border folder. And now we're going to give it a document size. Just for fun, let's make it 3000 by 3000 and say we're going to do, I don't know, let's say 5 images per row. There's going to be 2 images left over. So it's not going to be this perfectly filled out grid, but you'll get the point. And so now what it's doing is it's taking each individual image and it's figuring out, okay, how wide do I need to make this to stick them all in the row and assemble everything together nicely inside of Photoshop. The other cool thing is once this script is run and all of the images are in there, they're all saved as layers over here. So if there are any individual adjustments that need to be made in Photoshop after this is done, it can be done. And so a user can really make this robust file without having to do much work. And I find it super handy. You'll see that it fits everything perfectly side to side in every row. So until you get to the leftover images, that is. Downside to this script is it will not stop if there are overflow images. So it does require a little bit of pre-planning on the user's part. They have to think, okay, how many images do I want in this? How big of a grid do I want? Is there an even number or a not necessarily even, but is there a complete number that it's gonna is there a complete number that Photoshop is going to run with, so I don't run into a bunch of images overflowing on the canvas. But other than that, it works remarkably well. As you can see, we're going to have, let's see, we've got 5 per row. There are 22 total images. That means there's going to be 2 images left over that overflow on the canvas. Otherwise, it's going to be a completely full canvas full of images. So had we been thinking, we could have just removed 2 of those images from the folder, and it would have just worked perfectly. But there you go. It doesn't really matter that we didn't remember that, by the way. It's just going to run. It's going to put them on there. Nothing stops us from deleting those layers and just making it work. And it's almost done, as you can see. Once it's done, it says images placed successfully. As you can see, there are 2 images off canvas, these 2 layers over here. I can just delete those, and now we have a perfect little image grid. So there you have it. This is a really easy thing to do right in Photoshop, and my client was super happy. One last thing before I take off in this video and have it showing off to you is I created a help file for him in the form of a web page, and it's just a straight up HTML file that's styled. It does load on a mobile device if he wants it to. I delivered it as an HTML file, so it's not hosted, and it just takes him through all of the step-by-steps of how to use this, things to do to prepare, where to put the scripts, how any questions that happens, can I alter the output size of the images, that kind of stuff. So it was a really good project. It's something I'm proud of, and why I'm showing this off to you here on Upwork. So if you have any projects that are like this that you would like to complete, do me a solid, drop me a message, and hopefully we can bring something to life for you. Thanks so much.